Buckets line the narrow street, still shining from the night's rain. The roses hadn't opened yet, neither had the sky. Hands moved quietly, wrapping stems in brown paper, while small lamps painted circles of warm light across the pavement. No one seemed to speak very much. The morning hadn't found its voice. A delivery truck disappeared around the corner, leaving behind the scent of fresh leaves and damp cardboard. Someone carried white daisies as carefully as if they were carrying a conversation home. Coffee rested on an upside-down crate, sending little clouds into the cool air. The city was still asleep, only the flowers already knew a new day had begun. By the time the streets grow busy, these colors will be somewhere else, on a kitchen table, by a hospital window, inside a little cafe, or waiting at someone's front door. It's strange how quietly beautiful things begin their journey. The first birds arrived without warning. A breeze wandered through the market, lifting loose paper, stirring forgotten petals, then disappearing again. For a while the whole place felt suspended between yesterday and sunrise. Not everything beautiful asks to be seen. Some things do their work long before the rest of the world opens its eyes. When tomorrow comes, someone will hold these flowers without ever knowing how early their story began. But I'll remember the quiet street, the paper wrapping, the warm coffee and the sky, learning how to become morning. The lamps grew dim, the sun didn't hurry, neither did the flowers. Morning light settles softly across the wooden floor, finding every corner. Before it found me, the kettle whispered once, then everything became quiet again. Across the room, an empty chair waited beside the window, exactly where it always had. Some places never seem unfinished. They simply leave a little space for another day outside. A cyclist disappeared behind rows of maple trees. The bakery opened its front door, and warm air drifted through the narrow street. Someone laughed for only a second, then the sound became part of the wind. The coffee cooled slowly, the morning didn't. Time wasn't standing still, it was moving gently enough to let every little thing find its place. Some chairs are never really empty, they keep the quiet conversations, the unfinished smiles, the afternoons that slip by unnoticed. Long after footsteps fade, something remains, soft enough to feel even when no one is there. I closed my notebook without writing the last sentence. It didn't seem necessary. The window stayed open, The breeze turned one loose page, then settled as though it had finished its own story. For a little while the room felt complete, just the way it was. We don't remember every conversation. We remember how the light fell across the table, how the coffee smelled, how silence never felt lonely. One day someone else will choose that chair. They'll watch the same sunlight cross the floor. They'll hear the same kettle singing, and without knowing why, they'll stay a little longer than they planned. The cup was empty. The chair remained. So did the quiet. I left the house without deciding where I wanted to go. The streets were still quiet enough to hear my footsteps between the trees. A dog watched me from the front porch of a white wooden house. For some reason I waved. Its tail answered first. A small cafe had every window open. The smell of roasted beans drifted into the street, mixing with fresh bread from the bakery next door. I chose a table near the sidewalk, not for the view, but because I liked hearing people pass by. Nobody knew this day would matter, neither did I. It wasn't the coffee, it wasn't the weather, it wasn't anything I could point to later. Some afternoons simply settle into your life quietly enough to become part of you before you notice. The pages of my book barely moved. I read a little, looked outside a little more. The clock above the counter kept doing its job. I stopped doing mine for an hour. That felt like enough. Perhaps rest isn't something we earn. Perhaps it's something we remember to accept every now and then. When this week becomes another memory, I probably won't remember what I ordered. I'll remember the open windows, the slow conversation from the next table, the afternoon light resting on the floor, and the strange comfort of having nowhere else to be. The cup was empty, the chair stayed warm. Sunday went home with me. The clock above the counter was 5 minutes from closing. No one seemed to notice. A couple near the window finished the last page of a crossword puzzle. Someone folded a newspaper, stood up, then sat back down again after hearing one more song. evening didn't seem ready to leave. Outside, the street had grown quieter. Traffic lights changed for almost no one. A breeze carried the smell of rain that hadn't arrived yet. The cafe lights looked warmer now than they had an hour before. Perhaps they always did. Perhaps I only noticed when everything else became still. Some hours don't ask to be remembered. They simply stay a little longer than expected. I wasn't waiting for anything, not a phone call, not good news, not tomorrow. I was only watching the evening become itself, one quiet minute at a time. The music ended, no one hurried to choose another record. For a little while the room belonged to the sound of coffee cups, soft footsteps, and the wind touching the glass. It was enough, more than enough. We've all spent days trying to arrive somewhere, but sometimes the place worth remembering is the one we almost left too early. When I think back, I won't remember what day it was. I'll remember the chair by the window, the unfinished coffee, the last song, and the feeling that nothing else needed to happen for the day to feel complete. The sign turned from open to closed. The evening stayed open. The needle hadn't touched the record yet. Still, the room already felt full of music. A chair moved softly across the wooden floor. Someone folded yesterday's newspaper and left it beside the window. Coffee steamed into the morning light, disappearing before anyone noticed. Outside, the branches leaned toward the river, following the wind without deciding where it was going. The sign above the cafe rocked once, then rested again. Everything seemed content to happen a little slower. Silence has its own rhythm. You only hear it when you stop trying to fill it. The song hadn't even started, yet something had already changed. Not outside, somewhere quieter than that. The first note was still waiting, so was I. A hand reached gently for the record sleeve. Dust caught the sunlight for only a second, then vanished. The cup beside me was warm enough to hold without needing another sip. Nothing asked for attention, everything earned it. Introduction, no bright colors, no grand beginning, only a familiar room, an unplayed song, and enough time to listen. before the music filled the room. The room had already filled me, with quiet windows, with patient light, with the sound of another ordinary day finding its own melody. The record began, nothing hurried, neither did the morning. The first note lingered long after the silence had gone. Salt hung lightly in the morning air, long before the sun reached the platform. The station clock clicked into another minute, while waves folded quietly against the rocks below. A paper cup warmed my hands, the coffee wasn't remarkable, the morning somehow was. A porter unlocked the waiting room door. Someone rolled a suitcase across the worn wooden floor. A gull drifted overhead, calling once and letting silence finish the sentence. The scene never seemed to be in a hurry. Standing there, I wondered why I usually was. The tracks disappeared into the distance. Some roads begin long before we step onto them. When the first train arrives, the town will slowly open its eyes. The bakery lights, the flower shop, the little cafe near the harbor, all of them begin with mornings like this, quiet enough to hear your own thoughts coming home. The whistle carried across the water, then faded into the sound of the tide. Doors open, people smiled without saying much. Journeys rarely begin with big moments. Most of them begin with a cup of coffee, a deep breath, and one small step forward. Perhaps the best days don't arrive all at once. They gather piece by piece until one ordinary morning becomes the one you remember. Years from now, I won't remember the train number or what time it arrived. I'll remember the smell of the sea, warm paper against my hands, the quiet platform, and the feeling that the whole world was waking at exactly the right speed. The train moved on, the waves stayed, so did the morning. A co rested quietly on the chair beside the door, still carrying the scent of cold evening air. The window stayed open just enough to let the curtains breathe. Somewhere beyond the rooftops, a train passed, soft enough to disappear. Before I looked up, the coffee had gone warm, but I never thought to pour another cup. Light wandered slowly across the table, touching the corner of yesterday's newspaper. Outside, a few yellow leaves crossed the empty street, moving together like they had nowhere they needed to be. Nothing called my name They simply settle into ordinary days, becoming part of the way sunlight reaches the floor, or how a quiet room sounds when no one is trying to fill the silence. I closed the window a little later than I usually would. The breeze had almost disappeared. Only the faint smell of roasted coffee remained, lingering in the room like the end of an unhurried conversation. Without noticing, I smiled, not because anything remarkable had happened, because nothing needed to. The seasons don't change all at once. They leave small reminders on windowsills, inside jacket pockets, between the pages of ordinary afternoons. If this day returns someday, I probably won't recognize the date. I'll remember the quiet room, the open window, the coffee that stayed warm long enough to forget the time. Some memories never become louder, they simply become closer. The light faded, the room stayed still, and evening found me there. Before the city wakes, the streets still wear the night. Coffee cups are waiting for the first warm morning light. The traffic hasn't started, the shop signs softly glow. Every quiet corner has a gentle pace of its own. A newspaper meets the doorway, a bicycle rolls by. The clouds drift without asking where the morning wants to fly. Nothing has to hurry, nothing has to change. The world is taking one slow breath again. Before the city wakes, everything feels new. Every empty sidewalk carries drops of morning dew. The sky is turning golden, one gentle shade at a time. Maybe this is happiness, arriving with the light. The baker opens early, the smell of bread appears. A little cafe turns its sign, and music fills the air. Someone waves across the street, someone smiles hello. No one owns the morning, but everyone belongs. The sparrows find the rooftops, the trees begin to sway, and the quiet river seems to greet the day. Some songs don't need a destination, they simply walk beside you, like sunshine on familiar roads, or footsteps heading home. Before the city wakes, hope is everywhere, floating through the windows, drifting in the air. Coffee, bread, and sunlight, simple things we know. Maybe all we really need is one more morning, slow enough to notice. Before the city wakes, I hope I'm already smiling. One quiet street, one cup of coffee, one brand new day, beginning softly. The streets were clean and bright. Tiny puddles held the clouds like pieces of the sky. I wandered through the little park with coffee in my hand, then saw a paper boat resting near an empty bench. No name upon the folded page, no footprints close behind, just a little boat waiting with the morning light. Who set you free? Where did you go? Some stories don't need to be known. A paper boat after the rain, floating softly down the lane, carrying dreams no one could see, yet somehow it sailed with me. Maybe hope looks just like this, small enough to almost miss. A gentle breeze began to blow. The little boat moved on, turning slowly with the water like it knew where it belonged. Children laughed across the bridge, a robin crossed the sky. The whole world seemed to breathe again as clouds drifted by. I watched until it disappeared beyond the willow tree. Some goodbyes don't make you sad, they simply set you free. We spend so much time looking ahead, sometimes the smallest wonder is already at our feet. A quiet morning, a paper boat, a memory we'll never meet again. A paper boat after the rain still floats across my mind today. Whenever puddles catch the light, I stop a little just to smile. Some journeys never need a map to find, they only need a little rain and a little time. A puddle striped the sky turned blue, but that little paper boat sailed on long after it was gone. Every Saturday morning at 8:10, the station wore the same old smile as another weekend came. The coffee cart was opening, steam curled through the air. The newspaper man was humming like he'd always been there. The platform slowly filled with quiet, sleepy faces, but somehow every week the morning felt brand new. The train was never early, never running late. It always found us right on time. Saturday 8:10, the world moved nice and slow. Coffee in our hands, watching people come and go. Golden light across the tracks, simple moments, never ask for anything more than this. The florist crossed the station with daisies wrapped in white. A little boy counted pigeons until they took to flight. Someone played a tiny melody on an old guitar nearby. It drifted through the platform like clouds across the sky. The train arrived so softly, almost like a sigh. Still we stayed another minute before stepping inside. Maybe home isn't always a place we know. Maybe it's a familiar morning, a favorite song, and someone smiling without a reason. Saturday 8:10 still lives inside my mind. Every whistle, every footstep left a little light behind. Some mornings stay forever without trying to. They simply become a part of you. Saturday 8:10, I'll be there again. Not because I have to, because I want to. The doors closed, the train rolled on. The morning stayed behind. The sky was only waking when I turned the corner slow. Snow had covered every rooftop in a quiet silver glow. The little cafe waited with its lights already on. Warm reflections filled the windows, calling sleepy dreamers home. I brushed the snow from off the bench and opened up the door. The smell of fresh coffee met me like an old friend once more. Outside, the world was white. Inside, the morning softly bloomed. Before the first customer, before the morning rush, the room was full of quiet, the kind you learn to trust. Coffee in the air, snow outside the glass. Summer life's best moments never seem to pass. The kettle sang so gently, the cups were standing by. Steam was drawing little clouds against the winter light. A robin found the windowsill and stayed a little while, as if it came to welcome another peaceful sunrise. The street was still and silent, no footsteps on the snow, only little flakes falling soft and slow. Some mornings don't ask us to do anything, only to notice the warmth inside, the cold outside, and how beautiful both can be. Before the first customer, the whole world felt brand new. Every quiet heartbeat, every drop of morning dew. Snowflakes drifted slowly like pages through the air. Some days begin with silence, and somehow everything is there. Before the first customer, I learned once again, the happiest hours are often the ones that quietly begin. The bell above the door rang once, and morning stepped inside. I wasn't looking for a destination, just following the riverside. The breeze was carrying conversations, and bicycles rolled quietly by. A little sign beneath the maple trees read weekend records here. Wooden crates and faded album covers, waiting for another pair of ears. Someone smiled behind the table and gently brushed the dust away. Every record seemed to carry a little piece of yesterday. The river kept on moving, the music did the same. Some things keep flowing without ever changing. Down at the Riverside Record Market, Saturday moves slow. Coffee in a paper cup and nowhere else to go. Every melody, every worn out sleeve held a little story waiting to be seen. Maybe all we need is one quiet afternoon and an old familiar song. A saxophone played softly from a speaker near the bridge, not loud enough to fill the sky, just enough to fit the wind. You found an album you've been searching for since you were 17. You smiled away, only old memories can make somebody smile. We sat beside the water without saying very much. Sometimes silence knows exactly what words are made of. Time doesn't always move with clocks. Sometimes it turns at 33 revolutions. One song, one afternoon, one quiet place you never meant to find. Down at the Riverside Record Market, the sunlight turned to gold. The river kept reflecting everything it couldn't hold. Some afternoons don't ask to be remembered, they simply stay like music you never stop humming. Down at the Riverside Record Market, I'll find my way again. Not for another record, just for that feeling. The river rolled on, the music faded slow, and somehow so did the day. Every morning just past 7, the windows open down the street. Curtains danced in gentle circles with the early summer breeze. Someone watered little flowers, someone hummed a quiet tune, someone placed a cup of coffee where the golden sunlight moved. I never knew their names or where their stories led, but somehow every morning felt familiar instead. Little moments shared from far away, quiet routines that softly shape the day. When the windows open, morning finds its way. Light falls on the wooden floor and gently starts the day. Coffee, flowers, singing birds, everything in place. Home is made of little things we see every day. The newspaper by the doorway, a bicycle against the wall. The baker waved to passing strangers like he knew them all. A little dog stretched in the sunshine before following its friend. Even time seemed unhurried, like it never had to run. The clouds drifted slowly above the sleepy town. The whole world seemed to whisper, take your time right now. Maybe peace isn't somewhere waiting far away. Maybe it lives in ordinary mornings we almost overlook. One quiet street, one open window, one more beautiful day. best days never hurry, they simply begin. The breeze comes in, the kettle sings, another gentle morning starts again. There's an old street light at the corner near the park. It wakes before the sunrise and rests after the dark. It watches every morning as the town begins to breathe. Coffee cups and bicycles rolling down the street. A little girl skips past it with a ribbon in her hair. An old man tips his hat to everyone who's there. Every day looks different, still somehow feels the same. Under the streetlight, morning starts to bloom. Golden rays replace the silver moon. One more sunrise, one more chance to fall in with ordinary days. The flower shop unlocks its door, buckets filled with white daisies. A sleepy cat stretches slowly beneath the maple trees. The baker wipes the window as the first warm bread arrives. The smell of butter drifts into the waking sky. Someone hums a melody too quiet to be known, but somehow it follows everyone back home. Maybe every morning begins the very same, yet every little smile makes it new again. Time isn't rushing, it's simply walking beside us. Under the streetlight, the day unfolds. One gentle story never loudly told. Coffee in our hands, sunlight on our face. Maybe this is all we ever have to chase. Under the streetlight, the world feels bright, not because it changed, but because we finally noticed. The light goes out, the sun shines through. Another beautiful day waiting for you. Waiting for you. Every Friday morning, before the town gets loud, I take my old camera and walk without a plan. The streets are still half dreaming, the cafe lights are warm. A bicycle leans against the wall like it did the week before. The flower shop is opening, the owner sweeps the floor. I lift the lens, not chasing perfect pictures, only quiet moments, some memories. Never call your name, they simply wait until you pass again. Friday morning camera, one more frame to keep. Sunlight on the pavement, coffee turning to steam. Nothing has to happen, nothing has to shine. Sometimes all I want is one ordinary moment, frozen in its time. forgotten page outside the little library. An old blue chair sits in the sunlight, waiting for no one at all. I press the shutter gently before the feeling disappears. Every photograph reminds me the world is always changing, even when it feels exactly the same. We spend our lives looking for memories, not knowing we're standing inside one. Every quiet street, every gentle smile will someday become yesterday. Friday morning, camera still hanging by my side, not to catch perfection, only passing light. Every little shadow, every open door makes me fall in love with simple mornings once again. Friday morning, camera, let's take the longer way. The best photographs are usually found when no one's looking for them. One last picture, one slow smile. The morning keeps the rest. The curtains lifted before I had the chance to open my eyes. A cool breeze wandered in, bringing the faint sound of a train somewhere beyond the hills. The coffee hadn't finished brewing, yet the whole room already smelled like a new beginning. Without thinking, I opened the window wider and let the morning decide the rest. Branches moved gently above the narrow street. A delivery truck rolled past the bakery, leaving behind the warm scent of fresh bread. Across the way, someone arranged little white flowers outside a tiny shop carefully, as though the day deserved a beautiful welcome. Nothing asked for attention, everything quietly belonged. Days like these never knock, they simply arrive through an open window, carried by cool air, soft light, and familiar sounds that somehow feel brand new. Before we notice, they become the mornings we remember most. A page turned without my hand touching it. The breeze seemed determined to finish the chapter before I did. I smiled, closed the book, and watched the sunlight slowly travel across the wooden floor. Some stories don't live inside pages, some are already happening right outside the glass. We spend so much time waiting for remarkable days, yet the quiet ones keep leaving the deepest footprints. If tomorrow opens this gently, I'll leave the window just the way it is. Let the breeze choose the first song, let the sunlight find its own place, and let another The train faded, the coffee was ready, the day had already begun. There's a little table by the lake where the morning always arrives first. Before the first cup is poured, before the doors are fully open, the water is already awake, borrowing the colors from the quiet sky. I like sitting there long before I need to, listening to the sound of chairs being moved and birds deciding where the day should begin. The waitress smiles without asking my order. She already knows. A warm cup, a flaky croissant, and the window left open just enough to let the breeze wander inside. Some mornings don't need conversation. The silence already says enough. The lake keeps every reflection for only a moment. Maybe that's why I keep looking. If this morning could stay a little longer, I don't think I'd ask for anything else. The coffee will grow cold, the sunlight will move across the table. The day will slowly become ordinary again, but for now, everything feels exactly where it belongs. A fisherman waves from the far side of the shore. Someone opens a book, then forgets to read, while watching the ripples carry little pieces of light. The breeze turns one page, then another. No one seems to mind. Even time has found a quieter place to sit. Perhaps peace isn't something we have to search for. Perhaps it has been waiting at the same little table every morning, hoping we would finally slow down enough to notice. Tomorrow, this table will still be here. The lake will still borrow the sky. The coffee will still send little clouds into the morning air. And maybe I'll remember that happiness never asked to be extraordinary, only noticed. The cup was empty, the morning wasn't, so I stayed just a little longer. I got off at the last stop today, not because I had somewhere to be, but because I never stayed long enough to see what was waiting after everyone else had gone. The bus pulled away quietly, leaving only the sound of leaves moving across the pavement. There was a small convenience store, a blue vending machine, and an old bench that I probably watched thousands of afternoons come and go. A man watered the flowers outside his little shop. Someone was fixing an old bicycle, with the radio playing softly through an open window. The air smelled like fresh coffee from a cafe I had never noticed before. I wondered how many beautiful places I'd passed simply because I was always looking ahead. The world didn't become quieter, I just slowed down enough to hear it. Maybe every road has a story waiting near the end, not hidden, just patiently waiting for someone who isn't in a hurry. This morning didn't ask me to remember it, but somehow I know I will. The next bus arrived almost empty. The driver smiled like he had seen me there before. I stayed where I was for one more little while, watching the shadows grow a little longer across the sidewalk. For once, it felt perfectly fine to have nowhere I needed to be. We spend so much of life trying to arrive. Maybe the places that change us most are the ones where we almost didn't get off. If I ever take this route again, I think I'll stay until the last stop. Not because there's something special there, but because ordinary places have a quiet way of becoming unforgettable. The bus disappeared around the corner. The morning stayed exactly where it was. And for the first time that week, so did I. So did I. Steam drifted from my coffee and disappeared into the cool afternoon. Outside the window, the river carried small reflections that broke apart each time the wind arrived. A bicycle leaned against the railing, its front wheel turning just enough to remember the breeze. I opened the same book for the third time, but somehow kept reading the water instead. Across the bridge, someone closed a flower stand. Buckets that had been full of color were almost empty now. A little girl counted the ducks one last time before following her father home. The whole afternoon felt as though it had quietly decided to slow itself down. Nothing asked to be remembered, it simply became worth remembering. I stayed until the lights came on, until the windows began glowing one by one. The river turned darker, the sky grew softer, and the day let go of itself without making a sound. The cafe grew quieter, only the soft turning of another page. The clink of a spoon and distant footsteps were left between the music. I looked outside again. The same street, the same bridge, yet somehow everything felt different than it had an hour before. Maybe peace arrives so quiet will choose this table, someone else will watch the river. The lights will come on again, the evening will unfold just as gently, and maybe without knowing why, they'll stay a little longer too. The coffee had gone cold, the music hadn't, neither had the moment. Sunlight settled across the corner table, touching the edge of an unfinished book. Outside, the branches swayed so lightly that even the shadows seemed reluctant to move. A kettle whistled somewhere behind the counter. No one looked up, it was simply part of another quiet day. The page beneath my hand hadn't changed for several minutes, not because the story had become difficult, but because the view beyond the window kept asking to be read first. A cyclist disappeared around the bend. Two sparrows traded places on the wooden fence. The afternoon continued without trying. Nothing stood still. Everything moved slowly enough to be noticed. Some days don't arrive with fireworks or grand beginnings. They quietly unfold, one cup of coffee, one passing cloud, one turning page at a time. By the time the sunlight reaches the floor, you suddenly realize you've been smiling for a while. Someone closed a notebook near the back of the room. A chair slid gently across the timber floor. The music never asked to be heard. It simply stayed between the silence and the sound of another page turning. I finished my coffee, but not the afternoon. The world rarely changes all at once. It changes in small reflections, in familiar rooms, in ordinary hours we almost hurry past. When this day becomes another memory, I probably won't remember what chapter I was reading. I'll remember the warm cup, the open window, the breeze that turned the pages, and how an ordinary afternoon became the most peaceful part of the week. The book was closed. The story wasn't. I missed my usual bus this morning, so I decided not to wait for the next one. The weather was too nice to hurry, and the streets were quieter than I remembered. A bakery had just opened, and someone was carrying a paper bag that filled the whole corner with the smell of warm bread. I bought a coffee not because I needed one, but because it felt like the right kind of morning. The river walked beside me without asking where I was going. Leaves drifted across the path and a bicycle bell echoed somewhere behind the trees. An old bookstore was unlocking its door. The owner placed a little wooden sign outside, looked up at the sky and smiled to himself. For a moment, it felt like the whole town was waking up together. Nothing extraordinary happened, no surprises, just the kind of morning you wish would last a little longer. Maybe the long way home was never really longer. Maybe it was the road I was always too busy to notice. The sunlight reached the sidewalks before it reached the rooftops. The coffee grew a little cooler, the day grew a little kinder, and somehow I didn't mind arriving late. When I finally reached my street, the flowers outside the cafe were moving gently in the breeze. Someone laughed from an open window, a dog stretched in the sunshine. A train passed in the distance, soft enough to sound like part of the morning. I stood there for another minute, doing absolutely nothing. It felt important. There are days that ask us to run, and then there are mornings that quietly remind us the world has never been in that much of a hurry. Perhaps we only forget that from time to time. If tomorrow comes just like today, I think I'll choose the longer way again. Not because it's shorter, not because it's easier, only because some of the best parts of life are waiting on roads we almost didn't take. The coffee was gone, the morning wasn't, and somehow that was enough. There's an old bench by platform 2, painted green a long time ago. Every morning someone finds it before the first train rolls. A teacher with a travel mug, a student with sleepy eyes, a man who always feeds the birds before the sunrise. No one stays for very long, the trains are always on their way, but every day the old bench welcomes them the same. Morning comes, morning goes, still the quiet station knows them all. The old bench at platform 2 has heard 1,000 stories without a single word. Coffee cups and fallen leaves, good mornings on the morning breeze. Some places never ask us to stay forever, only long enough to remember. One autumn morning, a little girl left behind a paper crane. The station master found it and placed wasted on the bench, waiting for tomorrow to bring her back again. She can run it after school, smiling through the afternoon, holding that little paper bird like she'd found the moon. The old bench stayed exactly where it was, watching another memory find its way back home. Every train carries someone, every goodbye makes room for another hello. Maybe that's why some quiet places always feel alive. The old bench at platform 2 still waits beneath the morning blue. The seasons change, the people do, but kindness always passes through. If you ever miss the world, slow down for just a while. You might find a little peace waiting on an old green bench. The whistle fades, the birds begin. Another day arrives again. Every morning on Willow Street, the sunlight found the cafe first. It painted little squares of gold across the old wooden floor. The coffee slowly filled the room with a warmth that felt like home. Outside, the bicycles rode by without a place to hurry to. A sparrow landed on the windowsill, as if it came to say hello. You looked up from your favorite book and smiled before you knew. Nothing special, nothing new, just another gentle morning waiting to be lived. Morning light on Willow Street, slowly waking everything. Coffee warming both our hands, while the world begins to sing. Every little quiet moment feels a little more complete. Maybe happiness is simply morning light on Willow Street. The baker waved across the road, carrying fresh bread through the air. Someone opened up a flower shop, placing daisies by the door. The traffic sounded far away, like waves beyond the trees. Time moved with an easy rhythm, keeping perfect company. We stayed a little longer than we really had to stay, because some mornings are too beautiful to walk away. Maybe life isn't asking for a faster pace. Maybe joy is waiting quietly in familiar places. Every sunrise writes another page in stories we almost miss. Morning light on Willow Street still comes back to me, in the smell of fresh coffee or the shade beneath the trees. Every little smile, every little breeze, every ordinary moment becomes a memory. Morning light on Willow Street, take your time today. Some of the sweetest songs are the ones that never rush cafe door, the morning breeze, another quiet day, beginning slowly. On a quiet Monday morning, you brought a little plant wrapped inside a paper bag and placed it by the window. No one said it had to grow. We simply gave it water and watched the sunlight come. Every week a tiny leaf reached a little higher than the one before. Without a sound, without a hurry, it slowly found the morning light. Maybe good things never rush, they only need a little time. The little plant by the window grew with every morning sun. Coffee in our favorite cups, another quiet day begun. Leaf by leaf and day by day, the seasons gently pass. Some of the sweetest things in life grow slowly and always last. The spring became a summer, the summer turned to fall. Still the little leaves reached toward the sky. Some mornings we would notice another tiny change. Other days we'd simply smile and let it be. The breeze would move the curtain softly, the room would fill with golden light. Everything felt just a little brighter without us knowing why. Maybe happiness is something living, something growing, little by little, not all at once, not overnight, just one quiet morning at a time. The little plant by the window still reaches for the sky, just like every hopeful heart, learning how to try. Morning after morning, sunlight on the leaves. Sometimes all we really need is time enough to breathe. The little plant by the window still reminds me every day, the best things in this life don't bloom, they quietly find their way. The kettle sings, the curtains sway, another morning begins this way. Buckets line the narrow street, still shining from the night's rain. The roses hadn't opened yet, neither had the sky. Hands moved quietly, wrapping stems in brown paper, while small lamps painted circles of warm light across the pavement. No one seemed to speak very much. The morning hadn't found its voice. A delivery truck disappeared around the corner, leaving behind the scent of fresh leaves and damp cardboard. Someone carried white daisies as carefully as if they were carrying a conversation home. Coffee rested on an upside-down crate, sending little clouds into the cool air. The city was still asleep, only the flowers already knew a new day had begun. By the the time the streets grow busy, these colors will be somewhere else, on a kitchen table, by a hospital window, inside a little cafe, or waiting at someone's front door. It's strange how quietly beautiful things begin their journey. The first birds arrived without warning. A breeze wandered through the market, lifting loose paper, stirring forgotten petals, then disappearing again. For a while the whole place felt suspended between yesterday and sunrise. Not everything beautiful asks to be seen. Some things do their work long before the rest of the world opens its eyes. When tomorrow comes, someone will hold these flowers without ever knowing how early their story began. But I'll remember the quiet street, the paper wrapping, the warm coffee and the sky, learning how to become morning. The lamps grew dim, the sun didn't hurry, neither did the flowers. Morning light settles softly across the wooden floor, finding every corner. Before it found me, the kettle whispered once, then everything became quiet again. Across the room, an empty chair waited beside the window, exactly where it always had. Some places never seem unfinished. They simply leave a little space for another day. Outside, a cyclist disappeared behind rows of maple trees. The bakery opened its front door, and warm air drifted through the narrow street. Someone laughed for only a second, then the sound became part of the wind. The coffee cooled slowly, the morning didn't. Time wasn't standing still, it was moving gently enough to let every little thing find its place. Some chairs are never really empty, they keep the quiet conversations, the unfinished smiles, the afternoons that slip by unnoticed. Long after footsteps fade, something remains, soft enough to feel even when no one is there. I closed my notebook without writing the last sentence. It didn't seem necessary. The window stayed open. The breeze turned one loose page, then settled as though it had finished its own story. For a little while the room felt complete, just the way it was. We don't remember every conversation. We remember how the light fell across the table, how the coffee smelled, how silence never felt lonely. One day someone else will choose that chair. They'll watch the same sunlight cross the floor. They'll hear the same kettle singing, and without knowing why, they'll stay a little longer than they planned. The cup was empty. The chair remained. So did the quiet. I left the house without deciding where I wanted to go. The streets were still quiet enough to hear my footsteps between the trees. A dog watched me from the front porch of a white wooden house. For some reason I waved. Its tail answered first. A small cafe had every window open. The smell of roasted beans drifted into the street, mixing with fresh bread from the bakery next door. I chose a table near the sidewalk, not for the view, but because I liked hearing people pass by. Nobody knew this day would matter, neither did I. It wasn't the coffee, it wasn't the weather, it wasn't anything I could point to later. Some afternoons simply settle into your life quietly enough to become part of you before you notice. The pages of my book barely moved. I read a little, looked outside a little more. The clock above the counter kept doing its job. I stopped doing mine for an hour. That felt like enough. Perhaps rest isn't something we earn. Perhaps it's something we remember to accept every now and then. When this week becomes another memory, I probably won't remember what I ordered. I'll remember the open windows, the slow conversation from the next table, the afternoon light resting on the floor, and the strange comfort of having nowhere else to be. The cup was empty, the chair stayed warm. Sunday went home with me. The clock above the counter was 5 minutes from closing. No one seemed to notice. A couple near the window finished the last page of a crossword puzzle. Someone folded a newspaper, stood up, then sat back down again after hearing one more song. The evening didn't seem ready to leave. Outside, the street had grown quieter. Traffic lights changed for almost no one. A breeze carried the smell of rain that hadn't arrived yet. The cafe lights looked warmer now than they had an hour before. Perhaps they always did. Perhaps I only noticed when everything else became still. Some hours don't ask to be remembered. They simply stay a little longer than expected. I wasn't waiting for anything, not a phone call, not good news, not tomorrow. I was only watching the evening become itself, one quiet minute at a time. The music ended, no one hurried to choose another record. For a little sound of coffee cups, soft footsteps, and the wind touching the glass. It was enough, more than enough. We've all spent days trying to arrive somewhere, but sometimes the place worth remembering is the one we almost left too early. When I think back, I won't remember what day it was. I'll remember the chair by the window, the unfinished coffee, the last song, and the feeling that nothing else needed to happen for the day to feel complete. The sign turned from open to closed. The evening stayed open. The needle hadn't touched the record yet, still the room already felt full of music. A chair moved softly across the wooden floor. Someone folded yesterday's newspaper and left it beside the window. Coffee steamed into the morning light, disappearing before anyone noticed. Outside, the branches leaned toward the river, following the wind without deciding where it was going. The sign above the cafe rocked once, then rested again. Everything seemed content to happen a little slower. Silence has its own rhythm. You only hear it when you stop trying to fill it. The song hadn't even started, yet something had already changed. Not outside, somewhere quieter than that. The first note was still waiting, so was I. A hand reached gently for the record sleeve. Dust caught the sunlight for only a second, then vanished. The cup beside me was warm enough to hold without needing another sip. Nothing asked for attention, everything earned it. Introduction, no bright colors, no grand beginning, only a familiar room, an unplayed song, and enough time to listen. Before the music filled the room had already filled me, with quiet windows, with patient light, with the sound of another ordinary day finding its own melody. The record began, nothing hurried, neither did the morning. The first note lingered long after the silence had gone. Salt hung lightly in the morning air, long before the sun reached the platform. The station clock clicked into another minute, while waves folded quietly against the rocks below. A paper cup warmed my hands, the coffee wasn't remarkable, the morning somehow was. A porter unlocked the waiting room door. Someone rolled a suitcase across the worn wooden floor. A gull drifted overhead, calling once and letting silence finish the sentence. The sea never seemed to be in a hurry. Standing there, I wondered why I usually was. The tracks disappeared into the distance. Some roads begin long before we step onto them. When the first train arrives, the town will slowly open its eyes. The bakery lights, the flower shop, the little cafe near the harbor, all of them begin with mornings like this, quiet enough to hear your own thoughts coming home. The whistle carried across the water, then faded into the sound of the tide. Doors open, people smiled without saying much. Journeys rarely begin with big moments. Most of them begin with a cup of coffee, a deep breath, and one small step forward. Perhaps the best days don't arrive all at once. They gather piece by piece until one ordinary morning becomes the one you remember. Years from now, I won't remember the train number or what time it arrived. I'll remember the smell of the sea, warm paper against my hands, the quiet platform, and the feeling that the whole world was waking at exactly the right speed. The train moved on, the waves stayed, so did the morning. A girl rested quietly on the chair beside the door, still carrying the scent of cold evening air. The window stayed open just enough to let the curtains breathe. Somewhere beyond the rooftops, a train passed, soft enough to disappear. Before I looked up, the coffee had gone warm, but I never thought to pour another cup. Light wandered slowly across the table, touching the corner of yesterday's newspaper. Outside, a few yellow leaves crossed the empty street, moving together like they had nowhere they needed to be. Nothing called my name still. It felt as though the whole afternoon had been waiting. Some moments never asked to be remembered. They simply settle into ordinary days, becoming part of the way sunlight reaches the floor, or how a quiet room sounds when no one is trying to fill the silence. I closed the window a little later than I usually would. The breeze had almost disappeared. Only the faint smell of roasted coffee remained, lingering in the room like the end of an unhurried conversation. Without noticing, I smiled, not because anything remarkable had happened, because nothing needed to. The seasons don't change all at once. They leave small reminders on windows someday I probably won't recognize the date. I'll remember the quiet room, the open window, the coffee that stayed warm long enough to forget the time. Some memories never become louder, they simply become closer. The light faded, the room stayed still, and evening found me there. Before the city wakes, the streets still wear the night. Coffee cups are waiting for the first warm morning light. The traffic hasn't started, the shop signs softly glow. Every quiet corner has a gentle pace of its own. A newspaper meets the doorway, a bicycle rolls by. The clouds drift without asking where the morning wants to fly. Nothing has to hurry, nothing has to change. The world is taking one slow breath again. Before the city wakes, everything feels new. Every empty sidewalk carries drops of morning dew. The sky is turning golden, one gentle shade at a time. Maybe this is happiness, arriving with the light. The baker opens early, the smell of bread appears. A little cafe turns its sign, and music fills the air. Someone waves across the street, someone smiles hello. No one owns the morning, but everyone belongs. The sparrows find the rooftops, the trees begin to sway, and the quiet river seems to greet the day. Some songs don't need a destination, they simply walk beside you, like sunshine on familiar roads, or footsteps heading home. Before the city wakes, hope is everywhere, floating through the windows, drifting in the air. Coffee, bread, and sunlight, simple things we know. Maybe all we really need is one more morning, slow enough to notice. Before the city wakes, I hope I'm already smiling. One quiet street, one cup of coffee, one brand new day, beginning softly. The rain had left an hour ago. The streets were clean and bright. Tiny puddles held the clouds like pieces of the sky. I wandered through the little park with coffee in my hand, then saw a paper boat resting near an empty bench. No name upon the folded page, no footprints close behind, just a little boat waiting with the morning light. Who set you free? Where did you go? Some stories don't need to be known. A paper boat after A gentle breeze began to blow. The little boat moved on, turning slowly with the water like it knew where it belonged. Children laughed across the bridge, a robin crossed the sky. The whole world seemed to breathe again as clouds drifted by. I watched until it disappeared beyond the willow tree. Some goodbyes don't make you sad, they simply set you free. We spend so much time looking ahead. Sometimes the smallest wonder is already at our feet. A quiet morning, a paper boat, a memory we'll never meet again. A paper boat after the rain still floats across my mind today. Whenever puddles catch the light, I stop a little just to smile. Some journeys never need a map to find. They only need a little rain and a little time. The puddles strike the sky, turn blue, but that little paper boat sailed on long after it was gone. Every Saturday morning at 8:10, the station wore the same old smile as another weekend came. The coffee cart was opening, steam curled through the air. The newspaper man was humming like he'd always been there. The platform slowly filled with quiet, sleepy faces, but somehow every week the morning felt brand new. The train was never early, never running late. It always found us right on time. Saturday 8:10, the world moved nice and slow. Coffee in our hands, watching people come and go. Golden light across the tracks, simple moments, never ask for anything more than this. The florist crossed the station with daisies wrapped in white. A little boy counted pigeons until they took to flight. Someone played a tiny melody on an old guitar nearby. It drifted through the platform like clouds across the sky. The train arrived so softly, almost like a sigh. Still we stayed another minute before stepping inside. Maybe home isn't always a place we know. Maybe it's a familiar morning, a favorite song, and someone smiling without a reason. Saturday 8:10 still lives inside my mind. Every whistle, every footstep left a little light behind. Some mornings stay forever without trying to. They simply become a part of you. Saturday 8:10, I'll be there again. Not because I have to, because I want to. The doors closed, the train rolled on. The morning stayed behind. The sky was only waking when I turned the corner slow. Snow had covered every rooftop in a quiet silver glow. The little cafe waited with its lights already on. Warm reflections filled the windows, calling sleepy dreamers home. I brushed the snow from off the bench and opened up the door. The smell of fresh coffee met me like an old friend once more. Outside, the world was white. Inside, the morning softly bloomed. Before the first customer, before the morning rush, the room was full of quiet, the kind you learn to trust. Coffee in the air, snow outside the glass. Summer life's best moments never seem to pass. The kettle sang so gently, the cups were standing by. Steam was drawing little clouds against the winter light. A robin found the windowsill and stayed a little while, as if it came to welcome another peaceful sunrise. The street was still and silent, no footsteps on the snow, only little flakes falling soft and slow. Some mornings don't ask us to do anything, only to notice the warmth inside, the cold outside, and how beautiful both can be. Before the first customer, the whole world felt brand new. Every quiet heartbeat, every drop of morning dew. Snowflakes drifted slowly like pages through the air. Some days begin with silence, and somehow everything is there. Before the first customer, I learned once again, the happiest hours are often the ones that quietly begin. The bell above the door rang once, and morning stepped inside. I wasn't looking for a destination, just following the riverside. The breeze was carrying conversations, and bicycles rolled quietly by. A little sign beneath the maple trees read weekend records here. Wooden crates and faded album covers, waiting for another pair of ears. Someone smiled behind the table and gently brushed the dust away. Every record seemed to carry a little piece of yesterday. The river kept on moving, the music did the same. Some things keep flowing without ever changing. Down at the Riverside Record Market, Saturday moves slow. Coffee in a paper cup and nowhere else to go. Every melody, every worn out sleeve held a little story waiting to be seen. Maybe all we need is one quiet afternoon and an old familiar song. A saxophone played softly from a speaker near the bridge, not loud enough to fill the sky, just enough to fit the wind. You found an album you've been searching for since you were 17. You smiled the way only old memories can make somebody smile. We sat beside the water without saying very much. Sometimes silence knows exactly what words are made of. Time doesn't always move with clocks. Sometimes it turns at 33 revolutions. One song, one afternoon, one quiet place you never meant meant to find. Down at the Riverside Record Market, the sunlight turned to gold. The river kept reflecting everything it couldn't hold. Some afternoons don't ask to be remembered, they simply stay like music you never stop humming. Down at the Riverside Record Market, I'll find my way again. Not for another record, just for that feeling. The river rolled on, the music faded slow, and somehow so did the day. Every morning just past 7, the windows open down the street. Curtains danced in gentle circles with the early summer breeze. Someone watered little flowers, someone hummed a quiet tune, someone placed a cup of coffee where the golden sunlight moved. I never knew their names or where their stories led, but somehow every morning felt familiar instead. Little moments shared from far away, quiet routines that softly shape the day. When the windows open, morning finds its way. Light falls on the wooden floor and gently starts the day. Coffee, flowers, singing birds, everything in place. Home is made of little things we see every day. The newspaper by the doorway, a bicycle against the wall. The baker waved to passing strangers like he knew them all. A little dog stretched in the sunshine before following its friend. Even time seemed unhurried, like it never had to run. The clouds drifted slowly above the sleepy town. The whole world seemed to whisper, take your time right now. Maybe peace isn't somewhere waiting far away. Maybe it lives in ordinary mornings we almost overlook. One quiet street, one open window, one more beautiful day. Hope comes floating in on the smell of fresh bread and the morning wind. Every smile, every wave, every golden ray built a life more beautiful than words could ever say. When the windows open, I remember this: the best days never hurry, they simply begin. The breeze comes in, the kettle sings, another gentle morning starts again. There's an old street light at the corner near the park. It wakes before the sunrise and rests after the dark. It watches every morning as the town begins to breathe. Coffee cups and bicycles rolling down the street. A little girl skips past it with a ribbon in her hair. An old man tips his hat to everyone who's there. Every day looks different, still somehow feels the same. Under the streetlight, morning starts to bloom. Golden rays replace the silver moon. One more sunrise, one more chance to fall in love with ordinary days. The flower shop unlocks its door, buckets filled with white daisies. A sleepy cat stretches slowly beneath the maple trees. The baker wipes the window as the first warm bread arrives. The smell of butter drifts into the waking sky. Someone hums a melody too quiet to be known, but somehow it follows everyone back home. Maybe every morning begins the very same, yet every little smile makes it new again. Time isn't rushing, it's simply walking beside us. Under the streetlight, the day unfolds, one gentle story never loudly told. Coffee in our hands, sunlight on our face. Maybe this is all we ever have to chase. Under the streetlight, the world feels bright, not because it changed, but because we finally noticed. The light goes out, the sun shines through. Another beautiful day waiting for you. Waiting for you. Every Friday morning, before the town gets loud, I take my old camera and walk without a plan. The streets are still half dreaming, the cafe lights are warm. A bicycle leans against the wall like it did the week before. The flower shop is opening, the owner sweeps the floor. I lift the lens, not chasing perfect pictures, only quiet moments, some memories. Never call your name, they simply wait until you pass again. Friday morning camera, one more frame to keep. Sunlight on the pavement, coffee turning to steam. Nothing has to happen, nothing has to shine. Sometimes all I want is one ordinary moment, frozen in its time. A little girl waves to the baker, a train hums far away. The wind turns one forgotten page outside the little library. An old blue chair sits in the sunlight, waiting for no one at all. I press the shutter gently before the feeling disappears. Every photograph reminds me the world is always changing, even when it feels exactly the same. We spend our lives looking for memories, not knowing we're standing inside one. Every quiet street, every gentle smile will someday become yesterday. Friday morning camera still hanging by my side, not to catch perfection, only passing light. Every little shadow, every open door makes me fall in love with simple mornings once again. Friday morning camera, let's take the longer way. The best photographs are usually found when no one's looking for them. One last picture, one slow smile. The morning keeps the rest. The curtains lifted before I had the chance to open my eyes. A cool breeze wandered in, bringing the faint sound of a train somewhere beyond the hills. The coffee hadn't finished brewing, yet the whole room already smelled like a new beginning. Without thinking, I opened the window wider and let the morning decide the rest. Branches moved gently above the narrow street. A delivery truck rolled past the bakery, leaving behind the warm scent of fresh bread. Across the way, someone arranged little white flowers outside a tiny shop carefully, as though the day deserved a beautiful welcome. Nothing asked for attention, everything quietly belonged. Days like these never knock, they simply arrive through an open window, carried by cool air, soft light, and familiar sounds that somehow feel brand new. Before we notice, they become the mornings we remember most. A page turned without my hand touching it. The breeze seemed determined to finish the chapter before I did. I smiled, closed the book, and watched the sunlight slowly travel across the wooden floor. Some stories don't live inside pages, some are already happening right outside the glass. We spend so much time waiting for remarkable days, yet the quiet ones keep leaving the deepest footprints. If tomorrow opens this gently, I'll leave the window just the way it is. Let the breeze choose the first song, let the sunlight find its own place, and let another ordinary morning become something I'll carry long after it's gone. The train faded, the coffee was ready, the day had already begun. There's a little table by the lake where the morning always arrives first. Before the first cup is poured, before the doors are fully open, the water is already awake, borrowing the colors from the quiet sky. I like sitting there long before I need to, listening to the sound of chairs being moved, birds deciding where the day should begin. The waitress smiles without asking my order. She already knows. A warm cup, a flaky croissant, and the window left open just enough to let the breeze wander inside. Some mornings don't need conversation. The silence already says enough. The lake keeps every reflection for only a moment. Maybe that's why I keep looking. If this morning could stay a little longer, I don't think I'd ask for anything else. The coffee will grow cold, the sunlight will move across the table. The day will slowly become ordinary again, but for now, everything feels exactly where it belongs. A fisherman waves from the far side of the shore. Someone opens a book, then forgets to read, while watching the ripples carry little pieces of light. The breeze turns one page, then another. No one seems to mind. Even time has found a quieter place to sit. Perhaps peace isn't something we have to search for. Perhaps it has been waiting at the same little table every morning, hoping we would finally slow down enough to notice. Tomorrow, this table will still be here. The lake will still borrow the sky. The coffee will still send little clouds into the morning air. And maybe I'll remember that happiness never asked to be extraordinary, only noticed. The cup was empty, the morning wasn't, so I stayed just a little longer. I got off at the last stop today, not because I had somewhere to be, but because I never stayed long enough to see what was waiting after everyone else had gone. The bus pulled away quietly, leaving only the sound of leaves moving across the pavement. There was a small convenience store, a blue vending machine, and an old bench that I probably watched thousands of afternoons come and go. A man watered the flowers outside his little shop. Someone was fixing an old bicycle, with the radio playing softly through an open window. The air smelled like fresh coffee from a cafe I had never noticed before. I wondered how many beautiful places I'd passed, simply because I was always looking ahead. The world didn't become quieter, I just slowed down enough to hear it. Maybe every road has a story waiting near the end, not hidden, just patiently waiting for someone who isn't in a hurry. This morning didn't ask me to remember it, but somehow I know I will. bus arrived, almost empty. The driver smiled like he had seen me there before. I stayed where I was for one more little while, watching the shadows grow a little longer across the sidewalk. For once, it felt perfectly fine to have nowhere I needed to be. We spend so much of life trying to arrive. Maybe the places that change us most are the ones where we almost didn't get off. If I ever take this route again, I think I'll stay until the last stop. Not because there's something special there, but because ordinary places have a quiet way of becoming unforgettable. The bus disappeared around the corner. The morning stayed exactly where it was. And for the first time that week, so did I. So did I. Steam drifted from my coffee and disappeared into the cool afternoon. Outside the window, the river carried small reflections that broke apart each time the wind arrived. A bicycle leaned against the railing, its front wheel turning just enough to remember the breeze. I opened the same book for the third time, but somehow kept reading the water instead. Across the bridge, someone closed a flower stand. Buckets that had been full of color were almost empty now. A little girl counted the ducks one last time before following her father home. The whole afternoon felt as though it had quietly decided to slow itself down. Nothing asked to be remembered, it simply became worth remembering. I stayed until the lights came on, until the windows began glowing one by one. The river turned darker, the sky grew softer, and the day let go of itself without making a sound. The cafe grew quieter, only the soft turning of another page. The clink of a spoon and distant footsteps were left between the music. I looked outside again. The same street, the same bridge, yet somehow everything felt different than it had an hour before. Maybe peace arrives so quietly that we only notice it when the daylight begins to leave. Tomorrow someone else will choose this table, someone else will watch the river. The lights will come on again, the evening will unfold just as gently, and maybe without knowing why, they'll stay a little longer too. The coffee had gone cold, the music music hadn't, neither had the moment. Sunlight settled across the corner table, touching the edge of an unfinished book. Outside, the branches swayed so lightly that even the shadows seemed reluctant to move. A kettle whistled somewhere behind the counter. No one looked up. It was simply part of another quiet day. The page beneath my hand hadn't changed for several minutes, not because the story had become difficult, but because the view beyond the window kept asking to be read first. A cyclist disappeared around the bend. Two sparrows traded places on the wooden fence. The afternoon continued without trying. Nothing stood still. Everything moved slowly enough to be noticed. Some days don't arrive with fireworks or grand beginnings. They quietly unfold, one cup of coffee, one passing cloud, one turning page at a time. By the time the sunlight reaches the floor, you suddenly realize you've been smiling for a while. Someone closed a notebook near the back of the room. A chair slid gently across the timber floor. The music never asked to be heard. It simply stayed between the silence and the sound of another page turning. I finished my coffee, but not the afternoon. The world rarely changes all at once. It changes in small reflections, in familiar rooms, in ordinary hours we almost hurry past. When this day becomes another memory, I probably won't remember what chapter I was reading. I'll remember the warm cup, the open window, the breeze that turned the pages, and how an ordinary afternoon became the most peaceful part of the week. The book was closed. The story wasn't. I missed my usual bus this morning, so I decided not to wait for the next one. The weather was too nice to hurry, and the streets were quieter than I remembered. A bakery had just opened, and someone was carrying a paper bag that filled the whole corner with the smell of warm bread. I bought a coffee, not because I needed one, but because it felt like the right kind of morning. The river walked beside me without asking where I was going. Leaves drifted across the path, and a bicycle bell echoed somewhere behind the trees. An old bookstore was unlocking its door. The owner placed a little wooden sign outside, looked up at the sky and smiled to himself. For a moment, it felt like the whole town was waking up together. Nothing extraordinary happened, no surprises, just the kind of morning you wish would last a little longer. Maybe the long way home was never really longer. Maybe it was the road I was always too busy to notice. The sunlight reached the sidewalks before it reached the rooftops. The coffee grew a little cooler, the day grew a little kinder, and somehow I didn't mind arriving late. When I finally reached my street, the flowers outside the cafe were moving gently in the breeze. Someone laughed from an open window, a dog stretched in the sunshine, a train passed in the distance, soft enough to sound like part of the morning. I stood there for another minute, doing absolutely nothing. It felt important. There are days that ask us to run, and then there are mornings that quietly remind us the world has never been in that much of a hurry. Perhaps we only forget that from time to time. If tomorrow comes just like today, I think I'll choose the longer way again. Not because it's shorter, not because it's easier, only because some of the best parts of life are waiting on roads we almost didn't take. The coffee was gone, the morning wasn't, and somehow that was enough. There's an old bench by platform 2, painted green a long time ago. Every morning someone finds it before the first train rolls. A teacher with a travel mug, a student with sleepy eyes, a man who always feeds the birds before the sunrise. No one stays for very long, the trains are always on their way, but every day the old bench welcomes them the same. Morning comes, morning goes, still the quiet station knows them all. The old bench at platform 2 has heard 1,000 stories without a single word. Coffee cups and fallen leaves, good mornings on the morning breeze. Some places never ask us to stay forever, only long enough to remember. One autumn morning, a little girl left behind a paper crane. The station master found it and placed it on the bench, waiting for tomorrow to bring her back again. She can run it after school, smiling through the afternoon, holding that little paper bird like she'd found the moon. The old bench stayed exactly where it was, watching another memory find its way back home. Every train carries someone, every goodbye makes room for Maybe that's why some quiet places always feel alive. The old bench at platform 2 still waits beneath the morning blue. The seasons change, the people do, but kindness always passes through. If you ever miss the world, slow down for just a while. You might find a little peace waiting on an old green bench. The whistle fades, the birds begin. Another day arrives again. Every morning on Willow Street, the sunlight found the cafe first. It painted little squares of gold across the old wooden floor. The coffee slowly filled the room with a warmth that felt like home. Outside, the bicycles rode by without a place to hurry to. A sparrow landed on the windowsill, as if it came to say hello. You looked up from your favorite book and smiled before you knew. Nothing special, nothing new, just another gentle morning waiting to be lived. Morning light on Willow Street, slowly waking everything. Coffee warming both our hands, while the world begins to sing. Every little quiet moment feels a little more complete. Maybe happiness is simply morning light on Willow Street. The baker waved across the road, carrying fresh bread through the air. Someone opened up a flower shop, placing daisies by the door. The traffic sounded far away, like waves beyond the trees. Time moved with an easy rhythm, keeping perfect company. We stayed a little longer than we really had to stay, because some mornings are too beautiful to walk away. Maybe life isn't asking for a faster pace. Maybe joy is waiting quietly in familiar places. Every sunrise writes another page in stories we almost miss. Morning light on Willow Street still comes back to me, in the smell of fresh coffee or the shade beneath the trees. Every little smile, every little breeze, every ordinary moment becomes a memory. Morning light on Willow Street, take your time today. Some of the sweetest songs are the ones that never rush away. wrapped inside a paper bag and placed it by the window. No one said it had to grow. We simply gave it water and watched the sunlight come. Every week a tiny leaf reached a little higher than the one before. Without a sound, without a hurry, it slowly found the morning light. Maybe good things never rush. They only need a little time. The little plant by the window grew with every morning sun. Coffee in our favorite cups, another quiet day begun. Leaf by leaf and day by day, the seasons gently pass. Some of the sweetest things in life grow slowly and always last. The spring became a summer, the summer turned to fall. Still the little leaves reached toward the sky. Some mornings we would notice another tiny change. Other days we'd simply smile and let it be. The breeze would move the curtain softly, the room would fill with golden light. Everything felt just a little brighter without us knowing why. Maybe happiness is something living, something growing, little by little, not all at once, not overnight, just one quiet morning at a time. The little plant by the window still reaches for the sky, just like every hopeful heart, learning how to try. Morning after morning, sunlight on the leaves. Sometimes all we really need is time enough to breathe. The little plant by the window still reminds me every day, the best things in this life don't bloom. They quietly find their way. The kettle sings, the curtains sway. Another morning begins this way.